kuna siku nimelala kwa mti usiku.
I want to thank my mama. I want to thank my girlfriend.
That's fine.
So right now, as the political temperatures in the country have started getting very hot. Yes. So I think this is the right time that we need to have a conversation around young people involvement in politics, in leadership, and in policy making. So to kick us off, I have it's not a controversial question, it's not a controversial debate, but we are here to unpack whether it works or whether it won't, or whether it is not the right time to have this sort of discussion. So today we are going to be talking about this question. Should the voting age be lowered in Kenya to say around 16 years of age or 15 years of age? Because if you look at the demographics of Kenya, you find that Kenya has a youthful growing population where majority of the people in Kenya are actually young people. But the voting age in Kenya currently, right now, starts at 18. 18 is the legal age for a lot of things in Kenya. So with that in mind, do you think the voting age in Kenya should be lowered to 16 or even 15, or is it okay as it is?
Yes, actually yes.
Ibaki tu venye iko.
It should be lowered.
It should remain at 18. So it's a yes and a no.
Unpopular take, inafaa ikuwe 20.
Interesting. So should we start and pick sides? For it to be a fiery debate.
I personally think inafaa tukubaki vile iko at the age of 18. And here's my reason why I'm against it. At the age of 16, at the age of 15, there's still a lot of influence from your parents, considering how they wanna control your entire life, how you go, where you go to, okay, not where you go to school, because at 15, 16, you grade at primary school, ndio kupeleka shule yenye huko at that time. But they basically control what time you go to school, if you're a day scholar, they control how you're going to do your things. At that age, you're not even when it comes to things like, oh, nataka kwenda out, oh, nataka kwenda sijui church, oh, nataka kwenda. No, kama kwenda church, mnamka asubuhi, you go with your family. There's so much influence from your parents. That's one. Number two, there's so much influence from your peers. So I feel like them voting, it will be coming from a point of influence from people around them instead of proper civic education. You get? In as much as saizi people are pushing civic education, this 15, 16-year-old saizi wako wapi? They're in school. They don't know what's happening on social media. Maybe when they come back on holiday in April, that's when they'll see, oh, this has been happening. But then this civic education is being pushed now to sisi, kina 18s plus, when you're tushamaliza shule, we are now in campus, some of us are finishing Evo. So I feel like there's very little civic education that is being pushed in this age gap. Hence, them voting, watakuwa na votia mtu simply because wameambiwa, oh, this one's a nice person. Or maybe it's just influence from their peers. Nisikie Shom anavotia Sakaja. I'm like, oh, Shom is voting for Sakaja. I also want to vote for Sakaja. You see, there's so much peer influence and little civic education in this age gap. So I don't think...
So for you feel like the voting age should remain where it is because a majority of the people are not mentally mature, at the younger ages.
Yeah. And also emotionally. Utapata, watu wana vote because of, I don't know, their decisions are coming from emotions. Me at that age, I remember most of my decisions were out of what I was feeling. Most of my decisions at that age were emotional decisions. They weren't logical decisions. You get? Then I feel like the older I got, the better my decision making got. Okay. Yeah, so I feel like at the age of 18,
18 is okay.
18 is okay.
Personally, I think it does not make sense that in a population where majority are the young people, most of the decisions that directly affect and impact their lives is being made by older people who don't have the same experiences as the young people. They don't know the challenges that the young people are going through. I think it's high time that if we are to have a progressive and inclusive nation, we need to include the majority that forms that population. And I think for me, it doesn't really make sense that saying that a 16-year-old, for example, does not know what it needs for a good leader, what a good leader should be like. Because if you look at our education systems, vizuri, unapata in primary school, for example, that is where the politics starts. Primary school mnakuanga na prefects, sindio? Our prefects, wengine wanakuanga wanachaguliwa na mwalimu. But that is when bado nyinyi ni watoi kabisa. But when you start now, unaingia upper primary, unapata nyinyi, okay, hii time, at least mnajua nani anaweza kuwa fit for nini, sindio? So at that point in time, voting usually starts coming into place. Now, that should ring a bell in your mind, ikwambie that our watu, if you have gone through the whole complete 844 system, inamaanisha at any given time in primary ama in high school, for example, kulikuwa na time when you needed to make that decision, ni nani mnachagua aende afanye ikazi ama our represent maybe in the school council nini. Na hiyo decision ya kuchagua nani aende wa represent inakuanga based on a few markers. Mnaangalianga, okay, who is most eloquent or who is most confident, mwenye akiweza fika pale atatutetea. Unaona? So I feel like school inakuanga the first place where people are being trained on kujua ni nani anaweza make a good leader, a great leader, nini. So when people come out of school, probably, I think in Kenya, watu wengi wanatokanga shule wakiwa around 17 hapo.
18.
Yeah, around 17, 18 hapo. Na mtu, actually, someone at 16, ama even at 12, ni mtu mwenye anaweza rationalize things. So for me, I feel like even your 15 is okay. Yeah, I feel you can be rational.
So should also the legal age in Kenya drop?
I will lean. I think yeah.
You think it should drop as well?
Yeah, I think the legal age can also drop to 16.
So this 15-year-old ama 16-year-old sahi
Which one are you supporting first?
Let me start there first.
Okay.
So this 15-year-old ama 14-year-old, when you were 14 ulikuwa, let's say, form 2. Unanipata? A form 2 hiyo ndio wakati wanasema, unanipata, like maumbile inaanza kufanya kazi yake. So that form 2 this is common. A form 2 due to those changes, unapatanga most of form 2s, the academics are affected because of that particular stage that they're in. And at that time, that form 2, the most important thing to that form 2 ni nini? Academics, masomo. Nanipata? This is kitu yenye tuseme, because in high schools, I'm talking about boarding schools, you're restricted. Nanipata? Like uko zero grazing. So unafungiwa hapa kutoka asubuhi hadi jioni, your core business hapa ni kusoma. Nanipata? This one thing yenye tumeset your time hapa kando so that you can focus on, it's being affected by a particular stage that you are in at that particular age. Hata umefanya vizuri. You have reminded me, there's a day, it happened, okay, in my high school, because of that county, we were having, it was a Madaraka Day period.
Which county?
It was Kisii County. So I can explain. It was not as bad as
Is it special?
So being the only national boys school in Kisii County, unapatanga most the army, they usually camp at a particular region there, alafu as they prepare for that particular event.
Yeah.
So I remember so well, we were in school. Then because the convoy, the aircrafts were landing in our institution. Then the convoys come, they pick these leaders.
Ulisomea wapi? Kwani aircraft ilikuwa inalanda?
So they come, they pick these leaders. And then, we can get an opportunity for them to speak to us either wakienda ama wakirudi, depending on the timelines. But most leaders walikuwa na time wakirudi. Nanipata? Sisi kama wanafunzi wa shule pale, the leaders they used to come. So when a particular leader comes and speaks to you, the only thing that you're waiting for ni awapatie do. At least you have a better living in school, tukule mkate hiyo, si kama tuchinje mbuzi ama tuchinje ng'ombe like. Unanipata? And I remember very well. I remember so well that there was a particular leader, presidential candidate, came, spoke very good points, because it was a period that was like 2 years to elections or a year or so. I can't remember. So he came and gave very good points, but hiyo siku tulikuwa tunangoja kusikia. Then akaenda. Tukaboeka. Then there's another one who came. Akakuja and he speaks our language. Nanipata?
Your language is
yes, like lazima awapatie like ile okay, because of the school environment mnajuanga venye iko. So you'd want mtu mwenye atafanya mwishi tu vizuri hata kama ni 2 days 3 days will be okay. Nanipata? Then this guy came and left a particular token, significant size, plus the president of that time pia alikuja akaacha, so akicombine it was a substantial amount. Then there's this guy amekuja ametupigia tu
points kali
story for us his stories. Nanipata? I remember that time tuki recede back to classes ama tukienda to the houses, mtu anasema me 2022 this is my candidate. Simona hata anajali mahitaji yetu at that time. Nanipata? Like those
lakini unajua Kenya unasema applies for any part of the country. So CO2 isolated to hiyo shule yenyu pekee.
Nakupata.
Kisha hata chenye unasema pia Conrad, it does not only apply to those 16 year olds in school, 15 year olds in school. Wamama pale kwa kijiji watakuja wapo pesa. But so the adults are also being manipulated in the same way that you guys are saying these 16 year olds will be manipulated once they're given the chance to.
But the sway is more. Provided you are younger, the sway is more.
That's why I'm for the idea wakubalishwe kuvote. Ask me why.
Yes.
Because once they're in that environment, that school environment, it's easy to program them. It's easy to program their brains and minds.
Dangerous word.
It's just
okay.
What does school do? You need school programs.
School programs, yeah. School tells you amka for 30, be in class by 5.
You are being
run your
programmed to
classes
become
till
an
4 p.m.
employee.
Do this. Yes. Basically, you're taught kufuata masharti. In that even when you come to the working environment, you already know. Employer wangu akiniambia niko hapa 8, nafaa kuwa hapa 8.
Mimi niko na swali. Now that you guys are very woke, mnajua school ilikuwa inafaa kuwa Now that mko very woke, mnajua shule ilikuwa ina program ndio mkuje muende work ndio nini. Now that unajua hiyo system was not designed to work for you. Si wachane nayo. Mbona bado mnasoma, ikifika time muende mtafute kazi.
You know, some of us have
If you are being programmed, are you being programmed or are you being prepared for life?
You know, let me tell you something. If you want to defeat your adversary, you first need to learn your adversary. You need to know the strengths of your adversary, the weaknesses. Ili sasa after ushamjua, after umemlearn, that is when unaweza mkonka. So hasa kwa system, lazima tukue kwa hiyo system kwanza. To learn your system, tujue hiyo system iko aje.
In this case, the system is a trap. It's strengths or weaknesses, but it's a particular trap na you just walked into it.
But my point yenye nilikuwa kwanza na kusukumia kwanza nilikuwa nasema, they're in that environment. So them being in that environment, ni rahisi for the leaders ama the people in charge to promote ama do civic education for them very easy, because they're in school, they're being taught. So if we decide to feed them civic education, this is the right thing to do, this is how you make decisions. So it becomes easier for them.
But let me ask, in our country right now, who's doing the civic education?
Who's doing the civic education?
Who's doing the civic education?
Apparently, it's supposed to be done by IBC.
Yeah, but are they doing it really? The people pushing
according
for
to them,
civic
they're doing
education right now are mostly I've seen S2E5 Kazungu push for. These are people on the social media space already. These are the ones who are using their platforms to push for civic education. People like Ademba Alans, S2E5 Kazungu. I have seen these other guys, Zia Africa, and Anajita Zia Africa right now. I can't really remember his name. Kina Charisma, these are people who are the ones who are pushing for civic education. Yet, the government needs to set aside funds to ensure that civic education inafikia tole mtu wenye koko Turkana.
Do you know why?
But who's pushing for the civic education?
Do you know why the system is not working? The system cannot work when every other election period we keep making the same perennial political mistakes. We have failed to learn from our failures in the past. Unapatanga there's a village somewhere in Kenya probably. The MP mwenye ako hapo ni mtu mwenye alianza kuwa represent probably from the 90s hadi sasa bado wako in power. What does that tell you? Now, if at all you keep making the same mistakes you have been making, ama you keep making the same choices, now I expect change. How would that work out?
Change won't happen.
Which reminds me, maliza kwanza.
Yeah, that is why, like, for example, you are bringing out a very good point. Unasema right now in the social media space, there's a lot of activists wenye wana push for civic education, wana push for mayouth waende wachukue kura, wakue kadi nini. Who are the majority of people wenye sahi wako in these social media spaces? Ni akina nani?
Young people.
It's the young people. So they're
The 16-year-olds we're talking about.
So that tells you that right now information is readily accessible to every young person out there. They can be able to go through different contents zenye zinawekwa out there and judge for themselves which one is likely to work better, which one would relatively improve. I think we are here because now we are in the digital age. It should also change our approaches to a lot of things. Kitambo, people needed to maybe go for Kitambo, people needed to go for rallies physically. But I think we saw what happened was it in Sri Lanka, where they burnt down their parliament na wakachagua the next, was it the president or the prime minister? Through Discord. That tells you that the young people wako aware of hizi mashida zenye wanapitia. 16 year old, hata 12 year old siku hizi wanajua sisi ndio Sifuna.
Comparison yako hata ukiangalia those countries that you are talking about.
Sri Lanka is not a developed country.
Ukiangalia their informal population yetu tuko 80. Wewe kama a 16 year old, what were you looking
at? By informal population, what do you mean?
Watu wenye wajasoma sana.
Ebu enda uangalie literacy rates za Sri Lanka na compare na za Kenya. Kenya tuko juu.
Kenya tuko sawa. Kenya
enda uangalie internet penetration.
Unaangalia the demographic data, like the numbers ama percentages. Because lazima tupige comparison. Unajua angalia you unajua as much as we are talking about the internet. A place where it gives you an overwhelming amount of information. Nanipata a 16-year-old the content anatafuta si yenye unatafuta.
No, ngoja. Like unani understand wrongly. What I was trying to say is information is wanasemanga kwanza information is power.
Yes it is.
So say we live in a global village. Like say ukitaka kujua the things that is happen in the US. Unaweza jua the click of a button. Sindio unakatu hivi una search Iran US war updates nini and then you go through probably the most trusted news sources, because pia siwezi sema that the internet ama sahi hiyo social media space haina propaganda, haina misinformation. Hizo ni some of the dangers zenye ziko hapo ndani. But kuna kuanga na very good channels, very truthful channels. Ukitaka kujua kitu unaendanga hivi, unakaa chini, unajua they don't have any biasness, hawajakuwa censored, na you can learn a great deal from your space. Like information sahi, because of the smartphone age, iko na sisi. So sahii utavote tu ati jamaa alitupatia shilingi 5 alituachia za unga hapo. Yeah.
I think you know like the events zenye zimeunraveled recently ndo zimefanya tuseme kama sisi youths to focus on what is really happening. Tume realize that the generation yenye ilikuwa before us and na sisi venye tuko like there's some things that sisi hatuwezi acha zipite hivyo. That is hiyo ndio imespike a lot of interest towards this particular topic tuseme. So if in an ideal situation, okay, you describe hivyo, you're very truthful. But mi nataka tu niambie like you right now, you are like the things that you focus on are very different from the Austin at Form 2. Like nikipatana na wewe Form 2, if you were to go back and then to kuulize tu like some of these questions, probably ata the interest yako itakuwa hapo. Nanipata like I'm just being realistic na una plus you are okay, you suggesting that the age reduciwe is dependent on education.
Democracy inakuanga government by the people.
Yes.
For the people. Sindio? So by the people. Sasa unajua like in Kenya the biggest scene yenye tumekuwa nayo for the longest time ni watu wenye wanaendanga kupiga kura. Watu wenye wamekuwa na kura for the longest time ni watu wenye I think majority of them wako past the age of 30. Past the age of 30 wako huko mashinani nini. Hawajui like what happens in the rest of the world, in the rest of but sai tuko in that enlightenment age. Unaona sasa watu wanajua sai. Niko na swali June. At time ulikuwa Form 2 ama Form 3 ama Form 4, what did you want to become in life?
Hey, it has gone changing. In Form 2, I know I wanted to become a journalist. Then in Form 4, I was very into the medical field. Now I was thinking dentistry, medicine, pharmacy, nursing. That is when my interest for medicine ilianza.
So we can say confidently that at that young age, she knew what she wanted to become.
Wow.
Ni ukweli ama ni uongo? Sawa. Ni kumaanisha at that young age, huyu msichana alikuwa intelligent enough to know that this is the path. This is the trajectory that I want my life to take.
Yes.
With that same level of intelligence, anaweza kosa aje kujua what kind of policies, what kind of government, what kind of leaders wenye wanafaa wakuwe elected ndio to ensure that her dream of becoming the next medical practitioner is actualized.
That's a very heavy point because at that particular stage, the universe is giving you a chance to decide your fate. So is it not fair for the universe to give you the chance to also decide who leads you in the future?
But then again, at that particular age,
na
unapatanga
keje unasema ni own goal.
Let me just say, at that particular age, the government, various NGOs are pushing for career path, development. Not even development. Wanaleta hizi mko na career days, sijui you people have been taken somewhere, you've been taken to banks, you're basically been thrown out there, or rather my school threw me out there to go and see for myself various career paths, and then enabled me to pick what I wanted to do.
Exposure,
right now, basically exposure. But is the government exposing these 16 and 15-year-olds to, are they using like hiyo nguvu wametumia kutupush kwa the various careers that we want? Are they going to use the same strength to push us into knowing that what they are doing is wrong, what they are doing is not supposed to be there? Are they going to still do the same thing? Ama civic education sasa itabidi wewe uende ujitafutie hiyo civic education ndio ujue this is the kind of leader that I want, this is the kind of person that I want. If that age is to come down, then civic education needs to be pushed kabisa. It isn't a matter of activists to be doing the job. IBC miss jona watu wa IBC wakienda kufunza watu kuja
niko na swali. Do you
on
think
goal.
hii nauliza tu alafu niachie Kondi pia tuambie juu naona akona something kuna kitu inamwasha. Niko na swali. Is it the responsibility of the government to teach its population about what good governance should look like? Or is it the responsibility of we, the citizens, to try and educate ourselves on what we want our governments to look like based on our economies, how our economies are doing, our levels of employment, our future goals, hizo long-term goals. So whose responsibility is it? Should we now just go and sit back and say, now because the government is not doing civic education, sisi now hatujui nini inaendelea.
Afande umeshinda. Afande.
Utangoja tu siku ya election nini we go and decide. Ama is it our responsibility?
But you know what you have said talks about personal initiative. Like personal initiative. Like personal initiative. We can be here and then interested, like the things that we focus on. You know, okay, talking about umesema her deciding the fate, her fate, sindio?
Yes,
then
her future.
Alafu, the fate of, okay, the government iko invested in you knowing your fate, sindio, unataka kuwa nini in this particular system, how do you fit into this particular, kuna a system of education, right? Then when it comes to the fate of this government, tunakuacha on your own, so that you, if you want, take personal initiative. Take personal initiative.
Ukijisikia, in short, ukijisikia.
But the decisions we make affect you, but you take personal initiative if you want to focus on these things or not. So you understand the disconnect that is there. So a suggestion has eco-dependent, like eco-independent, like you can't just come and say this age iko hivi. Lazima ikuwe na some dependent, like eco-dependent on the level of education. You right now ata sahi, okay, concerning ata this talking about her fate. When you are from an early age, because of that dreams, kuzanga mtoto mdogo muuliza anataka kuwa nini, kuna kitu atakwambia, unipata. Na plus I think I know so well that you have gone to mentorships za high schools. Kweli?
Anasema hajaenda.
Sijaenda. Sawa. We have the transcripts. Okay. So but during those interactions, interacting with those guys, can you, okay, like you can get a particular perspective of the things zenye they are focusing on, like the things that zinawasumbua. Okay, ni kama sahi even the subject selection unachagua based on venye una performing vizuri, unipata. So like tuseme, let's say kitu kama history and government. Like right now mimi nilifanyanga geography, but na kaibi chini najiuliza, what if I focused on this government part, history and government.
But you can still do it.
No, like I can do it right now.
Yes.
You
can choose to do it.
But then, I can choose to do it. Yes. Personal initiative.
You can choose to do it.
Like I always kuwa that when we want to do something, when it's our future, tunakuja wote discuss. But when it comes to the future of the government, sasa, hey, Gustavo, if you want to take initiative, you just do your thing.
Goja. At the end of the day,
yes,
whatever government yenye iko in place, in effect, like kila mtu hapa.
Yes.
If the government is good, tutaenjoy aje? Kutakuwa na higher levels of employment, kumaanisha tutakuwa na pesa mingi kwa mfuko, si ndio? Si kila mtu anataka hivyo. Tukichagua government ya looters pia, watatuonyesha the same thing. Watatuibia, wataenda wachukue Nairobi Hospital, watakaa hivi chini waende wachukue playground ya maybe shule fulani huko. They will be corrupt to the core. Who will suffer?
Unajua hata, okay, look at angalia education ama tuseme tu, okay, children wanakuwa coached, like people who are under, like teens kwenda chini, these are people who are being coached at that time. Watu wanakuwa wameassume you don't know better, unanipata. like people usually assume you don't know better. Nanipata? So that's why they try to coach you. Na unapatanga ukifika particular age when tuseme Gashom nimekuwa nikimkataza sikuwa akifanya hii kitu, then umefika this age na una show out of his own initiative like even me not being there as the parent anafanya zile vitu nimemkataza, naona yenyewe this guy amekuwa mature, and then it comes that particular time yenye inakuwa you have this epiphany, unapata by the way sasa ndio naelewa mbona this person alikuwa ananiambianga hivi. Nanipata? So there's levels of maturity based on age itself. Like kuna kongana those levels of particular like maturity. No maana hata ukiangalia even in those the first world countries, ukiangalia tuseme kama mtu anasema the age of driving in equal 16, then anakuambia alcohol tunaitake to 21. Nanipata? Like there's a particular logic yenye these people walikaa hivi chini, then they decided. It is not something yenye tunaweza amua tu hivi you give a tuseme tu 16, drive 16, drink 21. There's something that you come to see for you to make this particular decision. Ninaonga level of maturity. Naona nakwambia hata saa hii if angalia look at this high schoolers wakitoka shule and then they come back, what stories do they usually break hapo katikati? Inakuanga about those their relationships, ngoma gani imetokea, nanipata like those things ndo zina like what is nini na like kitu ina nanipata something that is trending, kitu inaka na unapatanga the most popular among them ni those people wenye ni they are in tune with the things that are popular. Unapata labda ni dancer fulani, content creating, unanipata. So that particular age people are focusing on because they're wamekuwa consumers sana, like you consume content. What like the person mwenye atakuwa popular among us ni mtu mwenye ana thrive in that particular thing, na kitu inatufascinate hiyo wakati it's dancing, it's things that look cool pase, nanipata. No maana probably if we go back in through memory lane ama time excuse me,
acha malize.
So utapata kuna there are some things that you were doing before, tuseme labda at a particular like some years back kuna vitu ulikuwa unafanyanga that you don't do right now. Utapata labda ukimaliza unapata mtu labda I'm not against it ama nini, unapata mtu ametoa masikio ama amedai nywele ama amekadredi, then it comes a time anafika anabadilisha, unamuuliza okay mbona, like why, because it's just okay, afa nakwambia nimeoutgrow vitu fulani.
Okay, Conrad.
Yes.
I have a question for you. Number one, how old are you? Usijibu na miaka, unaweza peana range yako 20 to 22, 17 to 20, 23 to 25.
23 to 25.
23 to 25. What are you focusing on in life right now?
Right now ni positioning myself in this in the career world, na plus itongaje sai the things that zinani intrigue.
Perfect, achia tu hapo.
Nini
saizi uko miaka ya kuvote, si ndio?
Yes.
Perfect. In 5 years vitu una focus nazo saizi haitakuwa the same una focus nazo hiyo wakati. In 5 years probably utakuwa unafikiria maneno ya bibi na mtoto. 5. So hiyo argument yenye unaleta ama 7 ama 8. Okay. So hiyo argument unaleta that ujamaa mwenye ako 16,
yes,
hiyo wakati nini chenye nafikiria saa hizo na chenye atakuwa nafikiria in 5 years time ni vitu tofauti, na yes, haimata, like it does not matter because vitu hubadilika, we go through different stages of life. So hiyo wakati utakuwa hivi, hiyo wakati mwingine utakuwa hivi, you'll go through this stage in life, utapitia, utavaa madredi, utoboe masikio, outgrow, uende stage ingine.
Yes.
But kuna kitu moja itabaki constant.
Which is
nini?
Which is nakuuliza tu sahi.
Sasa nini, utaishi kuvote, si ndio? Yes, utaishi kuvote. Yes. Hata hizi seasons zibadilike, utoboe, ufanye nini, ukue shoga, hizi vitu zote zifanyike.
Kwani kuna kitu unajua?
Tuambie tu sahi. Prepare. Tusishtuke ati.
utaishi kuvote. So hawezi sema ati because anafikiria asate ati akikuja nyumbani atakuwa anafikiria tu what's the latest song that's out there, what's trending right now, that afai kubalishwa kuvote. That is not a valid argument because hiyo wakati hata tukiangalia saa hizi hatujafika 2027 bado, and you can see what influencers are doing out there. That guy called Alan, sijui rally hundreds of people waende vote by himself peke yake, waende wa register, si ndio? Na bado hatujafika 2027. So tukikaribia hii 2027, kila mtu hata kama hauko hiyo miaka sijui 20 voting age 18, hata watu wako 15 14 watakuwa wanapata information. Mimi nakumbuka hata 2013 nikiwa primary school time, Uhuru walikuwa wana vote na walikuwa wanashindana na Raila. I was very informed, nilikuwa najua what is happening, nilikuwa naona news. So na hiyo wakati social media was not as vast as it is right now. So saa hizi we have plethora of information. We are surrounded by information.
We are very intelligent.
But unajua hiyo 2013 hata unapatanga your bias iko based on your particular family.
Exactly, and that is why
if your father is voting for this guy.
There's also another point that John raised. John alisema pia that hawafai kukubalishwa kuvote because they'll be influenced by those who are around them, the parents na nini. Aya basi, enda mahali huko kunaitwa Ndindiroku na huko central huko ndani kabisa. Utapata jamaa ako hapo ako 25. Huyu jamaa anajua certain people, hajaiona wengine. Huyu jamaa atakuwa influenced na watu wako karibu na yeye. Peer pressure, exactly. Akuwe ako miaka 25, akuwe ako 15, akuwe ako 14. It's independent of age.
But ume-isolate that particular region.
Peer pressure.
Then we are talking about a particular population yenye encompass the whole country. Unanipata?
Young people hawafikiriangi hivyo blankly, kama like akunanga hiyo blanket thinking. Ati sasa all 14 year olds wanafikiria tu hivi wakifika nyumbani ni ngoma gani guys, shule funky liko inapunzi. The same way someone at 30, it's not the same thought process. Our thoughts zinakuanga influenced na the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Number one, sai watu wenye wako huko mashinani, their environment informs the kind of decisions that they make going forward. Ndio wewe uko tao umekuwa na this exposure, umeona how different systems work, different governments nini, so how you think is quite different from how they think. Wale wanavotingi as a block.
Actually, you could say that everyone is influenced by their surroundings. Kila mtu, see that 16-year-old peke yake. Everyone. Hata wewe, the decisions you make right now are influenced by the people who are surrounding you, by the decisions that other people are making.
That is a bold
directly or indirectly.
It is a bold false statement.
A bold false statement.
Yes.
Okay.
Mimi niko na swali guys.
Yeah.
Unaona when he was speaking, he said something about those politicians going to their school and wanaongeleshwa hiyo lugha yao, ndio. I was listening to another podcast today. It's not our country, it's not a Kenyan podcast, and they were saying they think campaigns need to be banned so that we start selecting or rather we start electing people in power based on the kind of work that we've seen, based on competence. Cook. You see, like right now, we know someone like Sakaja has been in office. DCI, please. Please, freedom of speech. We know someone like Sakaja has been in office for the past 5 years. Okay, by the time tuna vote atakuwa ameanza miaka 5, si ndio? And what personally I'm trying to look for what he has done.
Nairobi is not working.
Nairobi is not working in as much as there's so many Nairobi hiyo kitu nasomanga nini, something lazima I work, something like that. So we already seen that he's not competent enough to be Kai DCI. He's not competent enough to be in that seat, or rather 90% of Nairobi right now is like Sakaja needs to go, you know. So if this person comes here anze kucampaign, atakuja atengeneze potholes 2-3 zenye ziko hapo, and then akuje aende afanye nini nyingine, aende ajenge maybe 3 or 4 classrooms in a certain public school, and then he goes to the market and starts doing this and this and this and this, and then now come the day for election, people will start inaitanga recent bias. People will have recent bias. People will be like, but he has these things he's done in the span of 6 months to 1 year. Hiyo period ya towards election hizi ndizo kazi zenye amefanya towards that time enye nakaribia election. But hizi miaka zingine 4 people are going to forget. Hizo miaka zingine 4 tulikuwa tunabebwa na maji. Expresso ilikuwa ina flood. You know, people are going to forget that nothing was working for the past 4 years. Things have worked kwa the 1 year that we've had when elections were zilikuwa zinakaribia, and then they returned him back to office. Same thing with His Excellency.
Freedom of speech.
Atakuja afanye 1, 2, 3 things that people are going in this 1 year that is enye tunakaribia elections, and then in the hizo miaka zingine 4 people are going to forget, people like Rex Masai died on the streets because we are basically tulikuwa tuna reject finance bill. We saw brains scattered on Parliament Road. That scene has never escaped my mind till today, but people are going to forget all that simply because you have recent bias. So do you people think campaigns need to be banned so that now we start electing people from competence? Hii sasa itasukuma leaders who actually put in the work. You get, they'll be like, in the next 5 years when I want to get back in this office, when I want to be re-elected, I'll have to show these people. Actually, I don't even have to show them. They'll already have seen what I have done or what I have not done. And they'll elect me on the basis of, I did this for the country, I did this for the county, I did this. Unaona, they'll elect me based on what I have done, not what I said or what I say I will do. So, what is your take? Should campaigns be banned?
I love that argument. There's a discourse. There's a certain story that was being told a while back by one of these great minds. So there's this ship that was in the ocean. So a hole was poked by something. I don't know what poked that hole, but the ship started drowning. Like maji ikaanza kuingia. Don't know if I'm using the right terms, but the ship ikaanza kuzama. It started sinking, not drowning. A ship cannot drown, a ship sinks. Yes, so it started sinking. And so there was the captain and there was another guy. So the captain was not so fluent. The captain only knew how to do his job. But this other guy was like, we need to stand up, we need to do this and this, you need to elect me. Before that, they decided they need to elect a leader. They need to choose someone who will guide them during these troubling times. And so there was this one guy who was very fluent, very eloquent, and he convinced all of them, and they all went to his side. But the guy knew nothing about operating a ship. The captain, on this other hand, he didn't have the charisma to convince people. He didn't have the eloquence as this other guy. But because of those particular reasons, wakaenda hiyo pande ingine. So wakacha jamaa mwenye ako competent, wakaenda kwa huyu mwingine mwenye atawapeleka wapi? Wazame huko mbele. So I'm saying that to support your opinion and saying that campaigns should be banned, especially re-election campaigns should be banned.
Hey, re-election campaigns.
It's okay for you to campaign the first time so that we can know you. It's okay. But for re-election campaign, they should be banned entirely. Unakuja na scorecard, exactly. Hata ukuji nayo, let people see what you've done. Re-election campaigns zikuwe banned totally. Hiyo inaweza kuwa sawa sana.
Actually, that is supposed to be the question. Re-election campaigns need to be banned. If, for example, I'm a first time, I'm here, I'm an MCA, I've never even vied for a seat, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
You can come and lie to us if you're lying, or you tell us the truth if you're telling us the truth. Nitawajengea barabara, nini shule, you can come and do all that. But for election campaigns specifically, let your scorecard speak for you. Yeah, and
Very wonderful arguments. I think hii ndio the only time nimesikia you guys mmeongelea vitu za maana the whole day. Just now.
Wow.
Just now.
Wow.
The level of intelligence, the level of wit mmekuwa now in this last few minutes like imekuwa so high. What do I think? Re-election campaigns, okay, hiyo nayo nitakubaliana na nyinyi for once because you guys have made very good points. I also think that in order for it to work, in order for things to work, we also need to have a complete overhaul on how elections are conducted in Kenya, for example. Right now, elections are usually driven by the aspirants. So every aspirant time election ikifika, the conversation inakuanga, nafaa nitafute pesa ngapi to get into office. Hii pesa nafaa kutafuta ndio ingie into office, inakuanga ya kufanya nini? Inakuanga ya kubribe watu, inakuanga ya kusponsor goons, waende waharibu mikutano za watu, wachape watu wenye wako na dissenting opinions, unaona sasa. So the first challenge obviously from that ni the poverty, the widespread poverty in Kenya, for example, because people are being bought, voters are being bought. Sai aspirants wanaangalianga politics ama hizi elections kama the golden egg ama the golden goose. Basically it's a golden investment. Ukipigana weke hii pesa na uingie into office, ni hivyo. You have the leeway to loot because even the judicial system does not work. Juzi we saw, I don't know kama mliona, but there were these lawyers wenye walikuwa, it was a lawyer and an advocate, walikuwa arrested na EACC because walikuwa wana solicit for bribes. So basically what that tells you is, if you have enough money, you can beat the system. You are immune to the laws that govern the system. So elections zinafaa zikuwe people centered, not aspirant centered. I think it is in the US where campaigns ama hizo campaign funding zote, it is the people, watu yani the voters ndio wana contribute hii pesa ya campaign kwa politicians. Unaona sasa sisi ndio tunapatia watu pesa zetu because we are trying to drive certain development agendas. Sindio, kwa sababu tuna identify na these people, these are the things that we want, na tunaona this is the best vehicle ama the best team, for example, ya kutusaidia ku accomplish these things. Sindio, but what do we do in Kenya? The person who has the deepest pockets, mwenye atatupatia unga, mwenye atatupatia mafuta hii time ya campaign, ndio anaingia kwa ofisi, unfortunately, na hivyo ndio ina work.
But unajua pia you cannot as well compare us with the states because pia ukienda huko.
No, but that is why nimesema.
Wait a minute.
Ngoja tu nikusumbue. That is why nimesema like the biggest challenge for us ni poverty. I think it's poverty.
But pia okay, poverty is a challenge. But once we address poverty as well, kuingia pia pale you'll also need the money.
Nimesema tena mara ya pili,
wait a minute.
Elections need to be people centered,
and I agree with you. Lakini hasa mimi my concern is you comparing us to that
Singapore,
name of a country called United States of America. You're saying that once during the elections, people are the ones who fund the politicians.
Yeah.
But I also think that is broken. It should not be like that. Because once people start funding these politicians, that is where people start getting a controlling hand into what these politicians do. Because if I have money, I can just simply come and sponsor Conrad's campaign. And once Conrad is in the office, Conrad will do anything that I tell him to do.
But how many Conrads would have to be there in office, because it is the whole population that contributes?
Do you know some things are swayed by just a single vote in Congress or in Parliament here in Kenya? Just one vote can sway a whole policy. So if I sponsored Conrad's campaign and I tell Conrad do this, even if Conrad doesn't want to do that, Conrad will have to do it.
Obliged to,
You are obliged to do it because I'm the one who kept you. I'm the one who brought you there.
Which unaona the point that he was making about people being the ones sponsoring the campaigns. I'll have to go read on that. However, I feel like you see in our country where we have now the aspirants sponsoring their own campaigns, I feel like hiyo kabisa inafaa tu kuisha. Actually, campaigns should just be banned as a whole. Because if I'm sponsoring my whole campaign, when I get into that seat, my first agenda is to first recover my money. To recover my money and to get, if I want to be re-elected, to now loot some more so that I can get money for the next campaign. Sindio? Especially if it is my last year in office. So I feel like, it needs to be banned. Na ndio maana hapa tunaonanga vitu kama 1.3 trillion out of nowhere. Treasury can now not locate that money. But my 200 bob that I received from my mother last week, they are going to trace it to the last cent, like this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like campaigns as a whole, even if it won't be banned completely, because at the end of the day, people still need to campaign. 2 to 3 years to campaign. At what of I go on a campaign, you should be in office working, so that when time for election comes, we now vote for you. Tukijua alitenga na akafanya. Unaona?
Very, 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 very insightful.
But unajua the backbone of this ni the fact that we took a system, then we exalted a particular metric more than what we intended for it to be. So kama sisi here we want to make a particular decision, but there are suggestions here, so we say let's take a vote, so the idea that will be voted for is the one that will go with the most votes. So what we did, we exalted this metric, the fact that it is the voting system that matters. We don't look at the competence of these facts, but where the vote lies, ndio hapo ndo most power relies, ni exalting the metric. That is the key backbone. So
and that raises the question of democracy. Now that brings us to another whole different topic. Is democracy working? Is democracy right for developing countries? I think we'll tenga episodes specifically for those questions.
Politics and religion, matters of the heart.
Anyway, as we come to a close, najua time imekimbia very fast, surprisingly. Hata mimi nashangaa kidogo. But before we finish, nataka niulize one question and then we can answer it in maybe 30 minutes. And then
30 minutes?
No, in 30 seconds. 30 to 40 seconds. And then we'll give each our final submissions. So the question is, why is it that in Kenya we have kept on re-electing to office leaders who have shown us in the past that they are incompetent, but we keep re-electing them? Yes, why?
I think I'll go with recent bias.
Recent bias.
My point for recent bias.
All right.
There's recency bias, and there's also the fact that people tend to lie with the familiar. Go with the familiar faces, which, you'd rather go with the devil you know than the angel you don't know. So, mesema 30 seconds.
All right.
That.
So, recent bias summarizes it because of what they usually, washajua the venye game iko. So this last year, you will see progress. Back in our county, the stadiums they were being built during the last year of the term. Then when you see the progress, barabara ndo hii tushaanza, tuweke tena kwa ofisi tu endele. That's the trick.
Recent bias. All right. So as we make our final submissions on this, I tend to pose the question again. Do you think the voting age in Kenya should be lowered? Yes. Have we convinced you exhaustively? Or do you feel that the voting age is still iko fit venye iko? Yes. Iko sawa. All right.
Iko sawa. 18.
Ishukishwe.
Yes. bado
Wacheni leo ni vile sijakula. Next time nakuja nikisupport.
Sasa.
It should.
Okay, I think it's a wrap hapo hivyo. So let's continue this discussion in the comment section. Thank you so much for tuning in. We love you so much. Adios. Next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.